Greetings Exiles, Lexu here with an update on my Lightning Conduit Stormweaver Sorceress. My previous video on this build showcased my early mapping progress right after completing the campaign. Since then, I've been blasting maps and reached level 78 with my character. I've been getting a lot of questions about the current status of my build after yesterday's patch update nerfed trigger skills, including Cast on Freeze. All the gameplay footage in this video is recorded after the patch update, and as you can see, it's better than ever. Other builds like Cast on Freeze Comet got gutted because they couldn't kill enemies without triggers. The Lightning Warp in my build already deals enough damage to clear packs of enemies, while Lightning Conduit one-shots everything else. I've made rapid progress with the Lightning Conduit Sorcerer since my last video. Mana problems have been fixed to sustain a permanent Archmage buff for a massive damage increase, and survivability has been greatly improved without the need for mind over matter. The nerfs in the patch update didn't change boss fights for the Lightning Conduit Sorceress. I removed some of the one-hit potential from the build in exchange for better map clearing, but Lightning Conduit still kills bosses in 2 hits. Let's go over some of the build details of the Lightning Conduit Stormweaver Sorceress. Ball Lightning is the utility skill that starts the combo. The damage of this skill does not matter, but we want additional projectiles added from Scattershot and Unleash, as well as mobility and Arcane Temple for ease of use. Lightning Warp is then cast onto Ball Lightning projectiles to explode and create shock ground. This skill deals a decent amount of damage on its own and can kill most enemies while clearing maps. More area from magnified effect and increased magnitude of shocks from overcharge apply to both the explosion and shock ground. Glaciation freezes enemies faster for more survivability and to trigger Cast on Freeze. Cast on Freeze was nerfed in the last patch update and doesn't activate as often as it used to. It still activates Lightning Conduit often enough against packs of enemies since it one-shots almost everything. Considered casting is used for more damage without having to worry about the cast speed. Energy retention and impetus allows for more triggers to make up for the nerf. A second Lightning Conduit is equipped to be cast manually against tough elites and bosses. This way we don't have to rely on Cast on Freeze against bosses. Rising Tempest gives 12% more damage when you cast Hypothermia because it's a cold skill, and then another 12% when you cast Lightning Conduit, along with super critical and concentrated effect for even more damage. I've dropped Mind over Matter so I can sustain the additional mana cost from Archmage. You'll need a total of 160 Spirit to activate both Cast on Freeze and Archmage, which can be gained from having Spirit affixes on your body armor and your amulet. Clarity can be supported for 30% increased mana regeneration if you have 170 total Spirit. The remaining skills are used to buff damage to kill bosses, including Sigil of Power, Mana Tempest, and Hypothermia. Remember that this build is dealing cold damage instead of lightning damage. I've completed my 3rd Ascendancy to pick up Force of Will to fix my mana problems. Strike Twice is still the biggest damage increase for the Sorceress Ascendancy in this build. This allows 2 shocked grounds created from Lightning Warp to overlap on enemies. I've increased my shock to 70%, which is doubled to 140% increased damage taken by enemies. Lightning Conduit also gains 100% more damage for every 5% shock effect, which means it hits 29 times harder for me. The biggest change with the passive tree is the removal of Mind over Matter. The 50% less mana recovery was a harsh penalty that made supporting Archmage difficult. The protection from Mind over Matter is made up elsewhere. I have a total of 8 Jewel sockets in the tree, most of which are socketed with jewels that have damage is taken from mana before life. I have a total of 16% damage taken from mana before life from these drawers. This is the most important affix for survivability and helps immensely. The second most important affix on these drawers is the increased magnitude of shock you inflict. The remaining beneficial stats include additive damage bonuses, cast speed, crit damage bonus, crit hit chance, and area of effect. There's 34% of damage taken from mana before life in the skill tree nodes. Combined with the 16% I have from Jewels, the damage I take is split evenly between life and mana. Because my life value is so low and my mana regen is so high, I could benefit from a bit more of this stat. Don't forget the other key passive, which turns our energy shield to mana for better Archmage. I'm using an optional weapon swap tech, with my first set using 4 points to get increased area of effect, while my second weapon set gains critical damage bonus. For this tech to work, you need 2 different weapon sets. Ball Lightning and Lightning Warp are set to be used with weapon set 1, while the manually casted Lightning Conduit is set to be used with weapon set 2. This will automatically swap your weapons so you gain a critical strike damage bonus when you cast Lightning Conduit, and get the area of effect when you use Ball Lightning and Lightning Warp. The rest of the gear mainly focuses on maximum mana, energy shield, and resistances. Maximum life is also needed now that we dropped Mind Over Matter, and I'm still reworking my gear for it. Don't forget your Call of the Brotherhood Topaz ring to convert your lightning damage to cold damage so all your skills can freeze. This is obviously required for Cast on Freeze to work. I bought this early on for 5 Exalted Orbs before it shot up in price after I made my first video on this build. The price has now plummeted after the last patch because people don't think Cast on Freeze is viable anymore, so get this while you still can. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Path of Exile 2 content. Until next time, peace out and happy slaying.